Hey guys, how's it going? Brandon Watson here, working on Windows Phone. I get to talk to Thomas Fennell today. We're going to be talking about, he's program manager on the application platform, but we're going to talk about push and live tiles, two of the distinctive features of Windows Phone. Yep. Some really cool stuff that you guys have added in Mango. The OS coming later this year. We obviously announced it last week, I guess, time-wise, whenever this video is viewed, last week. But we're going to talk about that stuff, and I always start with the same question, which is, okay, what was the hardest part?
The hardest part.
So let's talk about the things you added, but then talk about what was the hardest part about building out this set of features.
The hardest part was getting it in. Believe it or not, the live tile stuff was pretty close to being cut at the beginning of the release.
Wow.
It was one of the things we wanted to do the most, one of the things people really seemed to want, we thought when we were speccing it out. Come time to cut, to make hard decisions, it kind of fell off the list. And it came to people actually, the developers actually starting to speak up when we started to reach out to the community, when people finally said, oh, maybe we need to reconsider. We actually brought those features back through a design change.
Wow. So let's talk about some of the changes that you guys made. And actually, I lied. The first question is usually what inspired you, but we'll get back to that one. So let's what's new? What's from a developer standpoint, but mostly from the end consumer point? What are they going to see? How's it going to manifest itself to customers?
You're going to get more and deeper integration with apps through tiles, because you're not going to just be restricted to one anymore, right? So apps can have multiple tiles. Apps can have stuff on the back of the tiles. Apps are going to feel
the flip.
Yeah, the flip over when you got stuff on the back. It's going to feel really alive. Things are going to feel really, it's going to be motion. It's going to be very metro. Things are going to be updating, and you're not going to have to spend as much time in an app to see the simple stuff that you want to see.
And so it's more like our first-party experience with email and the Facebook and the live tiles for the people on the people.
That's right. You can pin multiple things. You can add, remove them. It's all user customizable. It's up to the end user. Yep. Whatever they want, add it, remove it, however they want to use it. Some people do stuff. They use their start screen as like a dumping ground, right?
Yep.
Things I want to do quickly today, and then some things stay for a long time, and it's up to them.
Sure. One of the knocks that we had kind of with the first iteration of live tiles was the way to update them kind of required
just
standing
push.
Required standing up a server. Yeah. Developers, they would pull me aside and tell me, come on, dude, you got to make this easier. So obviously you made it easier. Let's talk about that and kind of how the design process that went into that.
We took our inspiration from developers because they were the ones that creative. They were like, I want to update my tile. I don't want to stand up a server to do it. I'm going to send a push to myself.
That's right.
From within the app. Just brilliant, wonderful way to do it, but obviously too hard. Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, having the local tile API felt like a no-brainer, but then we had real scenarios too. I wanted to write, I think I said this at Mix, I wanted to write a calorie counter app. I didn't want to actually have to send a push to update the tile. Sure. I just wanted to go in the app, put in that I ate a hamburger, which I probably shouldn't have been doing, and then have it update the tile just right there locally.
Okay, it's just the other stuff.
The fries and the milkshake,
the fries, you put the fries and the milkshake on the burger, that's
I
a
did
real
the
burger.
Fries and the milkshake. So, I mean, there were really good scenarios out there that developers really wanted, and so we knew that for a first release, push does all the things that you would need for a cloud service, but there were more scenarios for local that we wanted to enable.
So you talk about, you took your inspiration from developers, which is interesting. What are some of the most, other than obviously sending push notifications themselves, let's talk about how some of the developers said to you how they want to use live tiles. Not how they forced it to do what they want to do, but how they want to use it. What are some of the most interesting things you've seen?
I talked about it at Mix again, the Seattle Traffic Map app.
Yeah.
I think there should be more
Great talk,
of those.
by the way. It's up at visitmix.com. You can go check out your session. It was a very good session.
Thanks. I think there should be more apps that do traffic in this way, right? Like I want to know traffic for this area. Maybe I want to know traffic for downtown today because I'm going to a Sounders game, or maybe I want to know for my commute every day, and just let my tile have that stuff on it. Like, that's a great idea for the use of a tile for glanceable information.
Okay.
Can't wait to see more of that stuff.
What else?
Well, personally, I like what people are doing with customizing the background images of tiles. Yep. So, I mean, we give them ways to do it, but most people are finding that they can do really creative stuff, like for Twitter. Like, I can have a tile that shows my mentions.
These guys did this, right? Massively improve their download rate, right?
Fantastic. And Rowie, too. Rowie's had a lot of success doing this. Right. I mean, the developers are really creative. I mean, when you give them basically you say, here's a canvas. You've got some stuff you can put on the canvas, but in general, you can not use that stuff and do your own thing. And they come up with good stuff for that.
Okay, and so now looking forward, right? What are some of your expectations? What do you hope to see?
Oh man, I want to see. Well, first of all, my number one thing is I have 3 weather apps installed on my phone right now because I want 3 weather tiles. I know it seems silly.
Let me give you a hint. You live in Seattle.
It's going to rain all the time. Yeah. Well, and the other side is I want to see what's in Australia because that's where my parents live. But it's pretty much always fantastic over there. So it's really kind of depressing either way. Yeah. But I mean, having one weather app, right? One really good weather app that does all 3 tiles together is something I want. And I want a Twitter app because I follow a bunch of comedians and. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of others out there.
Follow a bunch of comedians?
Yeah, on Twitter. I use Twitter like RSS.
Do they tell jokes on?
Yeah, I mean, Conan on Twitter is hilarious. He's fantastic. Patton Oswalt,
He's actually very funny.
Yeah, so.
Okay, that's interesting. I follow mostly tech geeks.
I can imagine.
I had a lot of motorcycle racing. I used to be a semi-professional motorcycle racer, so I follow MotoGP and World Superbikes.
I mean, I follow you and Joe and like all those people too.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about some of the innovations. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in the. Check your warranty status on that HP computer. That's awesome. A lot. Yeah, right. Standard mark. A lot of innovations going on in the back end. Talk to me about some of the most interesting stuff that you guys have done.
So in the back end, we've made things a lot faster. I mean, everybody thinks about push as what happens on the phone, but there's a whole cloud service, right? Microsoft runs a service for MPN, and we've done a lot of work on the cloud service, the actual MPN side, to make things better as well. We have counterparts over in the service end. They've got a release that they're still in the middle of rolling out as well for Mango that's making things faster, is making things very, very reliable.
Now, are there going to be apps that can support more live tiles? Increase the number of apps that can actually use push and live tiles.
You bet. So now we're up
what we have today.
We're at 15 today. We're going to have 30 in the future.
Awesome.
And for those 30, you're not limited, right? Like if your app uses push, it can have as many tiles as it wants. That's just one channel.
It's not 30 tiles. It's one channel.
It's one channel per app, and then you have as many tiles as you want.
Very cool.
We're going to see a lot of push. We've already seen it increasing pretty dramatically, and so I think after we add these new things in, we're going to see a lot of not just apps using push, but apps using tiles and push and everything together.
So let's talk about reliability of that service bus.
Yes.
How's it going?
Fantastic. Well, very, very, very well. So we heard all the developers in around the world, right? I mean, we try not to be myopic, but we are in Redmond, and so this time we really focused on other parts of the world, other countries, and making sure push worked well. And we've done testing in countries, like physically with a guy standing there with a prepaid SIM, or just shipping these people around to really understand the impact. And so turns out, we did need to make some changes for other countries because they do things differently in different operator networks. So in places where push might not have worked the best in 7.0, it's going to work fantastic in Mango. It's going to be very reliable.
What about push over SMS? Is that going to work? Is that possible?
It's not something we're looking into at the moment.
Interesting.
Push is very lightweight, though. I mean, we've done a bunch of studies on how much data push uses, and in terms of consumption on the phone, push is one of the ones you worry about the least.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends. If you have 30 push apps and 50 tiles, and you're a very heavy user of push apps, clearly there's,
what about
some
number of
penalty
messages you can push down, A, to one phone, but B, to all of your clients? What are the limits looking like on that going forward?
So right now it's still 500 if you're unauthenticated. So if your cloud service isn't special, it doesn't have a cert registered with us, you can send 500 notifications to your app on a phone. So
your app on a single phone.
Right, so if you have 3 apps, it's 1,500.
Got it.
Right, but in terms of what you can send from your cloud service, the push server doesn't have any limit other than that 500.
Got it.
So you can have, if you have 1 million people subscribed to your app through push, we're in love with you. That's fantastic, right? That's what we want.
That's right. Well, it means you moved 1 million apps in the marketplace.
Exactly.
Which is really, really cool. Awesome. Okay. So now, I like to close out with all right, so a lot of developers watching. These are our guys that are building apps in the marketplace, all 40+ thousand guys are registered in the marketplace, all the tech enthusiasts. These are the guys that are eating this stuff. They want to look behind the curtain, see what we're doing. But they're building apps, right? And they want to learn from what we've learned, right? We have obviously a lot of resources here. What advice from everything that you've taken, and what you guys have done, would you pass on and say, hey, here's some things to think about when you're building apps that take advantage of push and live tiles?
So first of all, simplify, simplify, simplify.
Yeah, it's a common refrain amongst the PMs that are coming through.
It's actually very easy to simplify on the push API on the phone. It always has been. Now with the local tile API, it's not complex either, right? You create, update, delete. You put stuff in properties. It's very, very simple. But also simplify on your cloud service code. If you're going to be using push, you're going to have some service in the cloud. Keep that simple. Pay attention to the rules that we lay out, because we do say, like, if you get certain error responses from the server, don't push too many times, stuff like that. But in general, think of push as a very kind of transient thing, right? What you get the most recent one of is what you really care about. So things in between, not so important. I'm not trying to say that it's lossy. I'm saying that people care about the most recent content. So don't stress over notifications that you don't think have been delivered to the phone. Stress over making sure that when you try to deliver it, it'll get delivered, because we'll do our part on the other end, I promise. We'll do the best we can to get it down to the phone. So if you do a good job getting it to our service, we'll find a way to get it down to the phone.
Interesting. Cool. Thomas, Great discussion.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Good luck with the baby. You got your wife's expecting.
Any day.
You took time out.
I actually left my phone on just in case.
That's you have no idea what you're in for. It's awesome. It's an awesome experience, but you will definitely be huddled in the corner going, "What is going on?" So I'm
right now, you're getting me with some sleep in my system, so we'll see.
Awesome. Well, Thomas Fennell here to talk about live tiles and push from the App Plat team. Thank you very much for spending time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Niners, and we'll
Thanks, you guys.
talk later.
Cool.